G'day, just letting you know I'm currently watching Sky Racing on the Sportsbet app live from this hairdresser. You beauty!
Thanks, babe.
Watch Aussie racing anywhere with Sportsbet. Conditions apply and gamble responsibly. 1-800-858-858.
Continental Tires, AFL Trade Radio. The Late Trade for MEGT. Focus on your business and let MEGT recruit your next apprentice or trainee. Visit MEGT.com.au.
Matthew Rendell, Stephen Silvani, Damien Barrett with you on Continental Tires, AFL Trade Radio. Sauce, as always, here for Chemist Warehouse. Great savings every day. And a future of the late trade for MEGT is Matthew Rendell's list committee analysis. Today it's the Geelong Footy Club. He eases into it with a musical offering. Over to you, Matty.
Cue it up, Betty.
Who could ask for more? Will you still need me? Will you still feed me when I'm 64?
All right, little take on.
I think I get it.
Little take on the Geelong team, which is, I'm not telling you anything you don't know, number one for experience and number one for age. I've got about 10 of their players who are 30 plus in their best team. And mind you, they're still all playing really good footy. So I'm not denigrating them at all, but they've probably got 1 year left, Sauce, where they can have a decent crack at it. Hawkins at 33 next year, Selwood 33, Melangola 30, Smith 32, Stanley 31, if he's still there. If he's not, Segler, he's 32. Tui 32. We got Stewart at 29, Dangerfield 32, Rowan 30, Duncan 30, Blissarves 31. So they've got a really old, what should I say, experienced.
That's a better word.
Team,
Experienced.
The experienced team in their best team. And look, interestingly, they nearly get the job done against Richmond last year on the shorter game and less games during the year. This year, it seemed like the season was they got belted in both finals, and they got belted the same way. Their ball on the ground in their defensive 50, they've been really poor at. And their slow game plan has worked really well from them home and away, but it hasn't worked in finals for them. They can play fast. That game against Collingwood last year at the Gabba, they went real quick. They looked like Richmond, but they don't do it often enough. They're happy to kick mark, control the ball, and they're really good at it, and it wins them enough games to finish in the top four. And you put their best team on paper, it's still a really good team, but they need to make some changes in the back line. So Henderson's gone. I'm not sure about Blissarves playing back there. When he's good and you can stop your key forwards getting goals, but when he's got the ball in the hand, he looks completely lost. Jack Henry had a fantastic year playing back there. Stewart, we know, is great. So I've got Zach Guthrie, Tui, Buse, and I'm putting Sam DeConnick in, that Sauce gives a big rap to, as a key back here with Stewart and Henry. I'm going smaller, more mobile, and better with the ball on the ground, because that's where they get cut up. So what do you do make of their midfield? It's going to stay the same. Melangola had a pretty good year as well. So Parfitt obviously comes in there. Duncan comes in there. They need to get Narkle through there. I saw they played Holmes. I didn't know much about him, but he sort of played more as a pressure forward for a bit of it. But he's a real runner. He can cover ground. Maybe he needs to have a go there. O'Connor needs to play more in there. They had him back, and he did get injured too, but he needs to play. They haven't got a heap of depth with their kids. Cooper Stevens is one who should get a game next year, and looks like Clark will be going out, who you thought would definitely be in there. They've got a couple of young rucks coming through, Neil, and I don't know quite how to pronounce his name, Satchapatolis, who's they give a good rap to. He's a Cat B out of basketball, and they're both 202, but they're going to take a little bit of time. They've got one more crack at it, I think. So at the end of next, and Higgins is 34, who was in their best team, not in the final. So Dowhouse 29. They need to inject something here. Hopefully they pick up Stengel. That'll give him something in the forward line. Myers tends to play that up the ground small forward role. Stengel can play that inside 50 role with Hawkins, Cameron, Radagalea, Rowan up there, and a bit of Dangerfield. Stengel will kick a lot of goals roving off those blokes, because he does see it really quickly, and his ball handling's elite, and so is his goal kicking. They've got one more crack, and I don't know if it's going to fall off a cliff. I don't think it's going to fall off a cliff. or die a slow death, really. But they have got they need to fix up a couple of areas, and the one we keep talking about is Stanley. Segler will be a better option there. I'm not saying Stanley hasn't got a place in this team. It might even be as a 200-centimetre back as well, because he has got great skills. But Segler will be better in there because you won't have the Max Gawn game on a Segler like he had in that final on Stanley and co. That won't happen on Segler. So they're still in the window, and they're going to finish.
They can win the
1
flag.
to 6.
They can win the flag.
They can. They need some luck, obviously with injuries, and they just haven't got a lot of depth here. So they need all these older players to play, and they showed at the end of the year they're still very capable.
What's your take on the Cats? Continually getting there, but only one grand final since their premiership of 2011, and yet if they're an American sports franchise, we're celebrating them as being a successful and as they would say, a club that regularly has winning seasons.
Yeah, I think they've done marvellously well in terms of being able to stay up there for so long. I just, 16 wins this year is a great effort. I mean, the finals, obviously a big concern. I feel as though they do need to rejuvenate their team, and that pretty much match day team though. I feel as though they've got some talent playing in the VFL, and they've sort of played a few games here and there. But my view on it is they really need to play 2 or 3 kids in that team, get some excitement about the team, and often it only takes 2 or 3 younger players to bring that general excitement, and it really does help the enthusiasm for the older guys to see, look, there's something coming through, there's a bit of spark.
It happened at Essendon in 2021 and Port Adelaide in 2019 and 20.
But the thing I really believe they need to fix is they need to get a ruckman in, and can they get a Segler through the door? And I think that's really important for them to, if they got any chance to winning the grand final, I really believe they need to get a ruckman through the door.
Okay. And Segler, though, ticks that box for you.
I think so.
Yeah.
Look, my view on it right at the minute is they're not in position to go out there and get an absolute gun ruckman. I don't think there's an absolute gun ruckman out there right at the minute. Okay, there's no one that you could bring in and say, yep, he's going to fix our problems. I think they've got a couple of developing ruckmen on their list that will come through in probably the next 12 to 24 months. So can they bring someone in just for a year or two, let these couple of younger boys develop, and hopefully they can get some game time, get bigger bodies over the next couple of years, and go forward from there. So I still think they're going to be really hard to beat down at the Cattery.
Yeah.
They play that ground so well, so they're almost a certainty to play finals. But having said that, if they really want to go to the big dance, they've got to get some spark into their game.
You mentioned the game style.
Yeah.
Is that an absolute must?
Well, look, I was listening on the radio. They were talking about it when I was driving in, and they were saying that there might have been a blue around Scarlett and is it Enright? Yeah, with the coach about the way they play. And look, I don't know how true it is or not, but
I think it's fair to say there was some friction.
There was some friction about
their
brand of footy.
Yeah. But I think a lot of coaching departments would have friction at times.
Look, they've got a forward line of Radigalea, Cameron, Hawkins, Rowan, Close, who had a really good year too, Myers. Throwing, you want to get the ball in quick to those blokes. You don't want it going slow. I know they love to measure and they find the space and they lead and all that, but in the finals, it doesn't work. The pressure steps up big time. And certainly if someone breaks square in the midfield with them and gets it inside 50 the same amount of times, that's where, as good as Stewart, when they missed him badly in the finals, but it was, Henderson really struggled. Jack Henry's good. Kaladasny really struggled. They didn't have the right mix in defence. Ball at the ground. Well, the small blokes for Port Adelaide slaughtered them. Fantasia just kept getting out the back. Who was on him? Rosie, Butters, and then, Melbourne just took them apart from the start, or not quite from the start, when Gawn went berserk. So that's their other problem. So they got hit by one problem in the first final, hit by their other problem in the second final. And they need to take the game on. They need to back themselves in more. They've got a great team on paper. They need to back themselves in.
Yep.
Just on that, Matty, the loss of Stewart in their last 4 or 5 games was huge. I mean, he in terms of their back line, he sets them up. He's the one they release. He's the one that can intercept mark. He's the one that wins ground ball. He's a pretty special player.
So important.
All right, there's Matty Rendell's list and analysis of the Geelong Footy Club. There's still 3 to go, Matty, I believe.
Yep.
There will be still 3 to go. So the other losing prelim finalists and then the 2 grand final teams to come. That will be the continuing series of Matthew Rendell pulling apart each club before close of play on Wednesday of next week on Continental Tires AFL Trade Radio. Always, after Matty Rendell does do that to a particular club, we open up the lines for supporters of that club or anyone else who wants to have a say about what he has just said. So jump on 1300 23 55 48. That's the Kogan Mobile open line. Just $4.90 for 30 days. We'll take a look at your calls. We've got an interview with Michael Gibbons, not too far away either, so we'll get to that as well, and then we'll try and get a look down your text messages as well, which have been flying in as always today, 0419 187 323, and we've still got a plan to go down memory lane involving a famous performance of one of the 2 ex-footballers in this room. He keeps talking about it. We may as well talk about it properly and really do it justice to what he did on this particular day way back in 1993. So all that's still to come on the late trade for MEGT, but your call's next, 1300 23 55 48.
The List Committee for Ego Power Tools. Think outside with the Ego Power Plus 56-volt battery range of outdoor power equipment.